The Silent Challenger. The Caltherian Empire had dominated the Orion Arm for 3 centuries. Their sleek bioorganic vessels, powered by quantum pulse drives, were unmatched across 17 star systems. Admiral Zix Tar stood on the command deck of the Eternal Dominion, his 6-fingered hands clasped behind his back as he stared at the holographic display with narrowed golden eyes. "Confirm that reading," he ordered, his voice carrying the distinctive melodic tone of a high-born Caltherian. The sensor officer's tendrils quivered with nervous energy. "Confirmed, Admiral. Unknown vessel approaching the Vega boundary. No matching signature in our database." This was unusual. The Caltherians had cataloged every known spacefaring species in this sector of the galaxy. An unidentified ship meant either a previously unknown race or, more concerning, new technology. "Magnification," Zix Tar commanded. The hologram expanded, revealing a vessel unlike any in the Caltherian fleet. It was angular, almost primitive in appearance, with none of the elegant biomechanical curves that characterized advanced galactic engineering. Yet something about it sent a chill down the Admiral's spine. Size comparison. Approximately 1.4 kilometers in length. "Admiral, smaller than our destroyer class, but there's something odd about the energy readings." The Admiral leaned forward. "Explain." "It's contained. Too contained. We're detecting power signatures that should be radiating heat and emissions, but they're somehow perfectly insulated within the hull." This was troubling. Energy containment at that level was theoretically impossible, according to Caltherian science. The best ships in their fleet still vented excess energy as a natural byproduct of their quantum drives. "Open communications," Zix Tar ordered. The communications officer attempted to establish contact, cycling through all known frequencies and protocols. After several minutes, he turned to the Admiral. "No response." "Sir." "Send a scout wing. 3 vessels, standard approach protocol." 3 Caltherian interceptors detached from the fleet, their bioluminescent hulls pulsing as they accelerated toward the unknown vessel. They maintained perfect formation, a testament to the Caltherians' reputation as the galaxy's premier naval force. The bridge fell silent as they watched the interceptors approach the mysterious ship. When they were within 5,000 kilometers, something unexpected happened. The unknown vessel didn't move, didn't launch fighters, didn't raise visible shields. It simply flickered, for just a fraction of a second, as if passing through a dimensional phase. When it stabilized, the 3 Caltherian interceptors were gone. "What just happened?" Zix Tar demanded, his composed demeanor cracking. "They're gone, Admiral. No debris, no energy signatures, just gone." The bridge erupted in confused chatter. Disappearing 3 military vessels without visible weapons fire violated every understanding of physics the Caltherians possessed. That's when the communication system finally activated. A figure appeared on the main display, a bipedal being with light brown skin, dark hair pulled back tightly, and eyes that reflected intelligence and resolve. "This is Captain Ilara Chen of the Earth Defense Force vessel Prometheus. Your vessels violated our security perimeter despite our non-engagement protocols being clearly broadcast on universal frequencies. They have been temporarily displaced to ensure our safety." Admiral Zix Tar regained his composure. "This is Admiral Zix Tar of the Caltherian Empire. You have entered our sovereign territory without authorization. State your purpose or withdraw immediately." The human's expression remained unchanged. "Admiral, I believe there's been a misunderstanding about territorial claims. According to our records and the Universal Charter of 2287, this region is neutral space. We're simply passing through en route to the Arcturus conference." Zix Tar's tendrils stiffened. The Arcturus conference was a gathering of minor galactic powers, species the Caltherians had deemed insignificant. What business would this unknown species have there? "You still haven't identified your species or origin," the Admiral noted. "We are humans, from Earth in the Sol system. We've maintained a policy of limited galactic engagement until recently. This was troubling. The Sol system was within charted space, but it had been designated as pre-spaceflight by Caltherian surveys over a century ago. How had they developed this level of technology without detection? "Return our vessels immediately," Zixtar demanded. Captain Chen nodded. Of course, they were never in danger. The human made a subtle gesture, and suddenly the three interceptors reappeared exactly where they had vanished, intact and apparently undamaged. Immediate scans confirmed the crews were alive. Though disoriented, their system logs showed a time discrepancy. Only seconds had passed for them, while minutes had elapsed for the fleet. News of the encounter spread rapidly across the galaxy. The Caltherian Empire, unaccustomed to technological surprises, called an emergency session of their high command. The Vexillary Confederation, ancient rivals of the Caltherians, deployed observation vessels to gather intelligence on this new species. The Medusan Collective, known for their advanced scientific understanding, began theoretical analyses of how the human ship might have achieved its impossible feats. Within 3 days, Captain Chen and the Prometheus had become the most discussed topic in galactic politics without firing a single weapon. On the 6th day, with the Prometheus continuing its unconcerned journey toward Arcturus, the Caltherian Empire made a critical mistake. They deployed their third battle group, 12 warships, to intercept and detain the human vessel for security assessment. Admiral Felix, commander of the battle group, surrounded the Prometheus with overwhelming force. "Human vessel, power down your engines and prepare to be boarded for inspection," he transmitted. Captain Chen's response was measured but firm. "Admiral Felix, we have violated no laws and pose no threat. We respectfully decline and request free passage as guaranteed under the Charter." "This is not a request," Felix responded, ordering his gunships to power up their weapons arrays. What happened next would fundamentally change the galaxy's understanding of power. The Prometheus didn't flee or fire weapons. Instead, a hemisphere of distorted space expanded outward from the ship at impossible speed. When it passed through the Caltherian vessels, their advanced quantum systems simply shut down. 12 of the most powerful warships in the galaxy drifted powerless, life support and artificial gravity being the only systems still functioning. Captain Chen opened a broadcast to all ships in the region. "The Caltherian vessels will regain power in exactly 1 hour with no permanent damage. Their crews are unharmed. We have recorded this unprovoked aggression and are transmitting documentation to all signatories of the Universal Charter. The Earth Defense Force does not seek conflict, but we will not be intimidated or detained unlawfully." The Prometheus then accelerated to what sensors indicated was 10 times the maximum speed achievable by any known drive technology, vanishing from the sector within seconds. Aboard the Eternal Dominion, Admiral Zixtar received the report with growing concern. The humans hadn't just demonstrated superior technology. They had shown restraint. They could have destroyed the third battle group, but chose not to. This suggested not only advanced capabilities, but a disciplined military doctrine. Most troubling of all, intelligence analysts discovered that the Universal Charter Captain Chen had referenced didn't exist, at least not yet. The Arcturus Conference, they learned, was being convened specifically to draft such a document, with humans as one of the principal architects. This unknown species had emerged from obscurity with technology that defied understanding, neutralized the galaxy's most powerful military with ease, and was now apparently reshaping galactic politics. The Caltherian Emperor summoned his advisors that night, asking one simple question that echoed across 1,000 worlds. Who are these humans, and what do they really want? Aboard the Prometheus, Captain Ilara Chen sat in her private quarters, reviewing the incident report she would submit to Earth Command. The encounter had gone almost exactly as predicted by strategic planning. The Caltherians had reacted with predictable arrogance. The show of force had been necessary but measured, and humanity's message had been delivered. After 2 centuries of quiet observation and technological development in the shadows of the Sol system, humanity was finally ready to take its place among the stars. Not as supplicants or junior partners, but as equals, or more. She closed the report with a quote from Admiral Harrison, the architect of humanity's emergence strategy. "The galaxy doesn't need another conqueror. It needs a counterbalance." The Prometheus continued toward Arcturus, where representatives from 37 species awaited humanity's arrival and the beginning of a new galactic era. Paradigm shift. The Grand Assembly Hall on Arcturus Station hummed with tension as representatives from 36 species gathered in emergency session. News of the human vessel's confrontation with the Caltherian Empire had spread across subspace channels, creating ripples of uncertainty throughout the established powers. Arconian Ambassador Varric, his crystalline exoskeleton glittering under the chamber's lights, addressed the gathering. "This human demonstration of power cannot go unchallenged. If we allow one upstart species to disrupt the balance, chaos will follow." Murmurs of agreement rose from the delegates aligned with the 3 major powers, Caltherians, Vexillari, and Medusans, who had collectively dominated galactic politics for millennia. From the shadows at the back of the chamber, Nixthal of the Whisper Collective observed with interest. His species, nearly extinct after the Purification Wars, had survived by becoming information brokers. "The old powers fear what they don't control," he whispered to his associate. "But notice how the Rim World's representatives remain silent. They're waiting." Indeed, the delegations from smaller, often exploited worlds sat quietly, their attention fixed on the empty seat reserved for the human representative. The debate intensified as Admiral Zixtar, present via holographic projection, recounted the Prometheus incident. "Their technology violates known physics. They disabled 12 warships without detectable energy weapons. They must be contained before." The chamber doors slid open. Captain Ilara Chen entered alone, wearing a simple dark uniform with minimal insignia. The room fell silent as she walked calmly to the central podium. "Forgive my late arrival," she began, her voice clear and measured. "I am Captain Ilara Chen, representing Earth and humanity's colonies. I understand my presence here has caused concern." "Concern?" Admiral Zixtar interrupted. "Your ship violated sovereign territory, neutralized an Imperial battle group, and displayed technology that threatens galactic security." Chen nodded thoughtfully. "I understand how it might appear that way. However, I believe context matters. For the past century, while humanity developed our interstellar capabilities, we've been observing. And what we've seen troubles us deeply." She activated the central display, showing scenes from across the galaxy. Caltherian mining operations stripping inhabited worlds of resources, leaving indigenous species destitute. Vexillari protection fleets, demanding tribute from vulnerable colonies. Medusan scientists conducting experiments on sentient beings from undeveloped worlds. "The current galactic order is built on exploitation," Chen continued. "The strong dominate the weak, treaties are enforced selectively, and technological development is deliberately suppressed among emerging species. This isn't peace, it's controlled subjugation." Ambassador Varric rose in protest. "These are internal matters of sovereign powers. Earth has no standing to judge established galactic protocols." Chen's expression remained calm. When injustice becomes protocol, standing against it becomes duty. The smaller world's representatives began nodding in agreement, some even applauding softly. "You speak of justice while threatening war," countered the Vexillari delegate, her translucent appendages pulsing with agitation. "We threaten nothing," Chen replied. "We offer an alternative. The Prometheus demonstrated that humanity possesses technology that could challenge the military dominance of the established powers. But our purpose isn't conquest, it's balance." She revealed Earth's proposal, a genuine universal charter that would establish equitable trade regulations, protect developing worlds from exploitation, and create an independent enforcement mechanism that no single power could control. As expected, The major powers rejected the proposal immediately. The Caltharian representative formally announced their withdrawal from the conference, with the Vexillari and Medusans following suit. "This session is adjourned," declared the Arconian chair, attempting to end the proceedings. "Not quite," said Chen, activating her personal communicator. "Earth Command, proceed with Phase 2. Across the galaxy, monitoring stations detected an extraordinary phenomenon. 37 human vessels, each similar to the Prometheus, decloaked in strategic locations throughout settled space. They appeared simultaneously near major trade hubs, primary military installations, and key resource extraction sites controlled by the dominant powers. None took hostile action. They simply existed, their presence a silent statement of capability. Back in the chamber, the displays showed these vessels appearing as if from nowhere. The representatives of the major powers stared in disbelief. "Impossible," whispered Admiral Sixtar. "Our detection networks would have." "Your detection systems see what they're designed to see," Chen explained. "Humanity developed along different technological paths. We didn't announce ourselves until we were ready." The revelation sent shockwaves through the assembly. One species, previously dismissed as primitive, had deployed a fleet that could fundamentally alter the balance of power. "What are your demands?" asked the Medusan representative, his gelatinous form quivering with barely controlled anxiety. Chen shook her head. "We don't make demands. We extend an invitation to build something better. The ships you see are the Earth Defense Fleet. They will protect any world that signs the Universal Charter from exploitation or aggression, including from us." The smaller worlds' representatives began conferring urgently among themselves. Here was the protection they had long sought, a counterweight to the powers that had dominated them for generations. The Caltharian admiral's hologram flickered as he received urgent communications. Reports were coming in of human vessels intercepting Imperial resource extraction ships, attempting to leave worlds where they had been operating without local consent. "This is an act of war," he declared. "No," Chen corrected. "It's law enforcement. Those ships are being detained for violating the sovereign resources of charter signatories. They and their crews will be returned safely once restitution arrangements are made." 3 days of intense negotiation followed. The major powers mobilized their fleets, threatening overwhelming force. The humans didn't withdraw their vessels or alter their positions. It was the most dangerous diplomatic standoff in galactic history. On the 4th day, the Vexillari Confederation made a critical miscalculation. They launched a surprise attack on a human vessel protecting a formerly exploited mining colony in the Rigel sector. The Vexillari attack fleet, comprised of 37 warships, advanced with confidence. They outnumbered the single human vessel and were determined to make an example of it. The human ship, the EDF Artemis, didn't return fire even as the first Vexillari weapons reached it. Instead, it activated its defense system, a distortion field that caused the energy weapons to curve around the ship and continue into space. Kinetic projectiles simply slowed to a stop before reaching the hull, hovering in space like suspended sculpture. After allowing the Vexillari to exhaust their initial attack, the Artemis responded, not with destruction, but with precision. Targeted energy pulses disabled the propulsion systems of each attacking vessel without damaging life support or causing casualties. 37 Vexillari warships, powerless but intact, drifted in formation around the undamaged human vessel. The Artemis captain opened a channel to all ships. "Your crews are unharmed. Emergency power will remain functional. Rescue vessels will be permitted to retrieve you. Consider this a demonstration of restraint, not weakness." Footage of the one-sided engagement spread throughout the galaxy. The message was unmistakable. Humanity possessed military technology generations beyond the established powers, yet chose minimal force. In the assembly chamber on Arcturus, Captain Chen received the news with visible regret. "We hope to avoid any military demonstration. Our goal has never been domination." The balance of the conference shifted dramatically. Within hours, 23 worlds had signed the Universal Charter, placing themselves under human protection. The major powers, recognizing the new reality, reluctantly entered serious negotiations. By the week's end, a framework emerged that would fundamentally restructure galactic relations. The dominant powers would retain their sovereignty, but agreed to cease exploitation of developing worlds. Trade would be regulated by independent councils with representation from all signatories. Technology sharing would be encouraged rather than suppressed. As the Assembly prepared to ratify the Charter, Admiral Zix Tar requested a private meeting with Captain Chen. "You could have conquered us," he stated directly, studying the human with new respect. "Your ships could have destroyed our fleets. Why didn't you?" Chen smiled slightly. "Because that's not who we are, Admiral. Humanity's history is filled with empires that rose through conquest and fell through resistance. We've learned that lasting peace comes from justice, not domination." "Your technology," the Admiral began. "Developed in isolation," Chen explained. "While your societies focused on extracting resources from others, we turned inward, solving our own problems. Necessity drove innovation when we couldn't exploit others." The Admiral considered this. "And now?" "Now we share a galaxy," Chen replied. "We can continue fighting over diminishing resources, or we can collaborate to create abundance for all. The choice seems obvious to us." 2 months later, the Universal Charter was formally adopted by 79 species, including reluctant signatures from the formerly dominant powers. The Earth Defense Fleet established bases throughout settled space, not as conquerors but as peacekeepers. On Earth, the Defense Council reviewed Captain Chen's final report on the Arcturus mission. "Phase 1 complete," noted Admiral Harrison, the aging architect of humanity's strategy. "Emergence accomplished with minimal conflict." "The real challenges lie ahead," Chen cautioned. "Maintaining balance without becoming what we opposed will require vigilance." Harrison smiled. "That's why we selected you, Captain. Your restraint at the Vega boundary and wisdom at Arcturus proved the Council correct." Chen gazed at the holographic display, showing the newly chartered galaxy. "It's strange to think that a century ago, we were afraid to reveal ourselves, believing the advanced species would crush us. Now we're their protectors." "Not protectors," Harrison corrected. "Partners. That distinction is what separates us from those who came before." As night fell over Earth Command, humanity's ships continued their silent vigil across the stars. Not as conquerors bringing subjugation, but as guardians ensuring a fragile peace. Proof that advancement without compassion is merely sophisticated barbarism. The galaxy had trembled at humanity's arrival, not understanding that the tremors weren't destruction, but the foundation of something new being built to last.